guess this will work. We'll figure it out.
Check, check, check.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of the RRBG podcast. I'm here in Alex's bar in Long Beach with two legends, King Buzzo, Trevor Dunn. How are you guys?
Great.
Great?
Just getting my caffeine on in the afternoon.
This is caffeine-less.
Caffeine-less. Do you not do caffeine at all?
Very little. Some, but not a lot.
Some. And you? You do caffeine all the time?
No, I mean, well, I do. I usually have black tea in the morning and coffee in the afternoon, but I don't always have coffee.
Black tea.
But
Is it because it's less jittery than coffee?
No, I just always, I don't know. Generally I like tea more than coffee. There's more flavors.
That's true.
Coffee
That's
just
true.
tastes like coffee.
That's
so.
true. I mean, you could put all the junk in it, milk and sugar.
Which I don't do.
Crap, yeah. I do black coffee.
Black, yeah.
Shut
I mean,
up.
I like coffee.
Yeah.
I even like crap coffee. This is one of those pod things, you know.
Oh, no, I can't drink those.
Yeah.
Tastes like burnt water.
Yeah, well, you know.
How are you guys feeling? This is a big deal. I mean, this has been 10 years since you've done your solo stuff. Yeah. You've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. How are you feeling right now? You've already done 2 shows, I think, on the tour, right? How are you feeling?
Great. It's Buzz works very closely with his booking agent, and this tour was routed very smartly. And for instance, last night we drove like an hour and a half after the show, which isn't necessarily what we're always going to do, but I got up this morning, meditated, had breakfast, went to the gym, took a shower, clipped my fingernails, and and then we left the hotel. So I had time to do all that.
Is that the hippie shit you were talking about, the meditation?
Yeah, the showering part.
The showering.
It was my first shower of the tour.
Okay. I mean, it's been a 3-day. Is this the 3rd day? So
yeah, but we rehearsed for 10 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Before, yeah.
So are you doing...
Save the planet with no water.
No water, yeah. You taking the Adam Carolla route and just towel down at the end of the day?
I'm only going to do air for now on.
Hey, it works for some people, apparently.
Until they die.
Are you doing this tour because it's just easier to be acoustic than to carry a whole fucking like band and all the electrical equipment around?
Well, it's certainly easier.
Yeah.
But that's not why we're doing it. You know what? I'm tired of hauling gear. Let's just do this.
How can we make it easy?
Just do it acoustic.
Okay.
Yeah. If that was the case, I wouldn't bring an upright. That's for sure.
That's true.
That's total pain. As you can see, they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
We watched us wrestling it for 10 minutes, but trying to figure out where he was going to go.
Yeah. So tell me what the advantage is for this tour. Why not just have like a regular acoustic bass? Like, why go for the? Is it just because it has a different
isn't a regular
sound?
Acoustic bass.
Well, no. I'm saying like, why not use a regular acoustic bass instead of the upright one? Like, what's the difference for you?
What do you mean, like an electric bass that's acoustic?
I've seen like that look like regular acoustic guitars.
Well,
not upright.
This is upright to me as a regular acoustic bass.
I see. Sorry.
I mean, I've been playing upright bass since I was 17, I think. I started on electric, but I still play both, and it just depends on the music. And this repertoire that we're doing, it's specifically designed for. I mean, we are doing like some Melvin songs that we've adapted, but it's the whole concept is that it's upright bass and acoustic guitar. That's the whole deal. I use the bow a lot, which you can't do on those. I don't even own one of those things. I either play electric bass or upright.
Okay, and I mean, so you don't own it. Where are you getting it from?
This bass, I own an upright bass, but I don't own the kind you're talking about.
Right? Oh, you don't own the other one. You don't own the other ones.
Those. Well, I don't know what they're called. They're the acoustic electric basses or whatever. They're not really acoustic basses, but
they're called a kook click.
A kook click.
But this isn't my bass. I do own an upright, of course, but I'm borrowing this one because it's too much of a pain in the ass to. I would have had to travel all the way from New York. I live in New York, so I would have had to bring it out and then get it back after the tour, and it's expensive to ship it, and it's also kind of sketchy. They can get damaged. So.
Right. Are you taking this one the whole tour?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So whoever's lending it to you, screw them in case it gets banged up.
Yep.
You don't want to bang yours up.
Yeah.
That's what Trevor says.
Yeah.
Screw them.
Yeah, screw them.
Certainly.
So tell me, tell me a little bit about what the songs that you're playing. These are songs from 2020. Am I correct to assume this?
They're all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah, some from my first acoustic album I did. Some from the record that we did called "Gift of Sacrifice" that we did together.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, we were supposed to do this before the pandemic.
But
during the pandemic, but then the pandemic hit and we had to cancel an entire world tour.
Wow.
And then the record came out and we didn't get to tour it. So, and then by the time the pandemic nonsense was over, the first thing I did that we would have done, I didn't think was a good idea to do an acoustic tour starting. It's time to get the Melvins back out on the road, and you've done Bungle.
Yeah, you did a bunch of Bungle stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So then we probably have been talking about doing this for the better part of 2 years, really. And
Wow.
because I've got stuff going on, he's got stuff going on, and it's hard to find. This is 3 months.
Yeah, it's a long
It's hard to find that much time where it will work. And so I also like that because if we're going to go to the trouble of rehearsing the stuff up to a par that we like, I want to do more than 2 weeks of shows.
Yeah.
Rehearse for 2 weeks and then do 2 weeks of shows. That's just to me. It's crazy. Once you get this ball rolling, it's only going to get better. And then we would do this with Fantômas because that's how I really got to know Trevor. We played together in Fantômas, and I met him, but I certainly didn't know him. And that's what it would be with Fantômas. Hardly any rehearsal at all. First 2 weeks of the tour, you're just totally stressing about how to even play the show. The last week of the tour, you have it down, and then the tour's over.
Wow.
So it's just like, if we could have just played for another month, we have this.
Yeah.
And then you start over again. And I don't do that with the Melvin. I'm not about that. I'm not comfortable with that. I want people to walk on stage when I'm in charge of a band to and be comfortable with what they're doing out there.
Yeah.
That's the way that we did the Melvins light in 2012, and where I was playing upright, and that's when we did the 50 states plus DC in 51 days, and we were,
That's wild.
we rehearsed for that, and within a week of that tour, I wasn't looking at the set list. I had it memorized. We're going out there, totally know what we're gonna do. And the confidence to do it, and also the confidence to mess with it a little bit because you know what's coming. You know how to. There's some elements of improv in this set that we're doing tonight. I do some improv stuff. I change things up all the time, but the skeleton of the set is always the same. And the more confident I am with that set, the more freedom I have to mess with it.
Yeah. And I like that improv nature of it because the music itself. Like I heard a couple of tracks on the way here that it sounds. It's not jazz, but just the tone of the bass itself kind of gives it that vibe.
Yeah.
To it, you know what I mean? Like a slower kind of. It's rock, but it's also jazzy.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you actually how you guys met, but you just answered that with Fantômas.
Well, we played some shows with Mr. Bungle. I don't know how they did. They somehow knew about us when we lived in San Francisco, and were a fan of our band, and then had us play shows with them, and in the early '90s, late at least '80s to early '90s, and then Patton put together this Fantômas in '97,
Something like that.
and so me, Trevor, Dave Lombardo, and Mike, and that's how I really got to know Trevor, because then we're working together closely, and on the Fantômas stage, we're right next to each other. We're right in the middle of the stage, and Patton and then Lombardo. So we were always, secretly, without Patton knowing, okay, here's what we got to do on this one to make it through this. So back and forth.
So was that a rule of it, kind of making it a little more kind of spontaneous, like with Fantômas?
Fantômas is not spontaneous at all.
It's 100%.
Already.
I was blown away when people thought that the whole set was improvised. The whole set is 100%. Every note, Patton is a control freak, and every note is like determined, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
He wrote every note and gave us zero freedom to elaborate on it at all.
Interesting.
His deal.
His deal.
So, people would say, you guys are up there improvising. If we could improvise that, are you fucking kidding? Improvise.
I know.
Have you ever seen an improv gig?
Yeah.
That's nothing. It could not be more polarly opposite than improvise. It's the exact opposite.
It's just people are not used to the structure of it. I mean, it's a little out there in terms. It's not very standard structured song, so
No.
people see that and they don't even get it. They can't bang their head to it, so they're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, I know.
I think the concept for that ultimately came from John Zorn. It came from the band Naked City. I think kind of that's what Patton was trying to do, but Naked City was a band that used basically genre as a tool, and so like a single Naked City song might have like 5 or 10 different genres of music, everything from reggae to jazz to hardcore or whatever. But Patton did that with Fantômas. I think his concept it was like a metal kind of metal hardcore, but chopped up comic book style, frame by frame or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you
Massively overarranged.
Massively
Massively overarranged. I would say.
Yeah.
About as overarranged as you could possibly have it. Down to the point where he would tell Lombardo which cymbals to hit.
Really?
No, that crash was the wrong cymbal.
Yeah.
And it's 300 miles an hour.
Which is a little bit like, that's not the way I would do things. I'd be like, if I had a good drummer, I'd be like, do your thing with it,
Right.
Which is what's great about when I've played with Buzz. He lets me do whatever the fuck I want.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm really of the belief if you hire someone and you trust them musically, I certainly do this with the Melvins, let them do their job.
Yeah. Especially if you have someone like Trevor who's
Right.
Has his own identity.
That's it.
And you want Trevor on the track. You don't
That's
just want a
it.
bass player. You want Trevor on
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
100% it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
I am not a bass player. I can play bass, but I'm not anywhere near his level. So and even though I could tell him play like this, I'd rather have the musicians own it, even if I wrote it.
Yeah.
And then they play it better.
Yeah.
They will
'cause
play
they
it
feel
better.
more comfortable, I think. They're not so worried about
Comfortable.
making sure they hit every. So was it very stressful to play those shows to make sure you're not fucking up a single
Panamas?
note? Yeah.
In the beginning,
stress.
in particular, it was like, it reminded me of those. I remember the first time I really met Buzz and Lombardo was in the first rehearsal. We showed up at the rehearsal space, and we rehearsed for something like every day for like 2 weeks.
No.
Wasn't
7
it
days.
for the first show? That show we did at
7
Slim's.
days.
Really?
Wow.
Wow. It seemed longer.
It seemed like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, and then when we got up and played on stage, we all had cheat sheets. We barely knew the music. It was not stage ready. And what it reminded me of was like I've done theater pieces before where I'm like in the orchestra pit or something, and that they're always like it's scrambling to get things done, and they're at the last minute they're like, oh, you know what, we're gonna cut the scene, scratch out this whole page or these few bars, and you're like, okay, now I gotta jump from here to there, which I'm not used to. It was like that. It was super stressful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw you guys. I think it was with Tool in Florida a while back.
Yep, that would be right.
Yeah, that was a fun
We
show.
had some combative gigs.
Combative? Oh, with the crowd.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think
Coin-
like
a
on
lot of
stage. I'm like, are you guys
coins-
fighting on stage?
No, coins being thrown at us, and
Really?
there was one show we did. I can't remember what it was. I was worried I was going to get my teeth knocked out with coins, so I just turned my back on the audience and played the whole set.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, well, I get it. People are ridiculous. I've been to a lot of shows where when the opening act doesn't really fit the bill.
Yeah.
And the crowd's just revolting. Like,
Well, Tool thought it fit the bill.
well, yeah.
That's a weird thing in those kinds of situations. Is it never occurs to these dumb shits that this is a band that the headlining band wants here.
Yeah.
They didn't bring. You know what's going to really fuck with our audience? We'll put this band on.
Yeah. It's funny that we're talking about that here because, like Buzz was saying, Mr. Bungle, we were all fans of the Melvins. That's so we'd have them do shows with us a lot. We played in Anaheim in '92 in the round, and Melvins opened up, and the crowd hated them. They were booing the whole time. They went crazy, and we were like, "Fuck these people." So we rearranged our set so that we were doing all the slow covers that we knew. We called it our heroin set. We did. We did like "Time" by Alan Parsons Project,
Oh,
and
my goodness.
these jazz ballads. We didn't play. I think of the White Noise. We did
Massive White
improvise for and people were pissed.
for 20-minute sections.
Tom Araya from Slayer was there, and he came backstage. He's like, "That wasn't cool."
I feel ripped off.
That wasn't cool.
So I felt pretty good about
Slayer felt ripped
I
off.
felt pretty good about offending Slayer.
But he didn't tell you the best part was we were backstage after our set, and the audience is not having us at all, and they're backstage, like, and it's like a common room, everybody, and they're like, "This fuck those guys, I hate this shit, can't believe those fuckers." And so Patton grabs all the set lists and just wads them all up, throws them away, and at the top of the new set list he writes, "Tonight they will pay."
That's
Like,
amazing.
you don't boo our opening band off the stage.
Tonight
Like,
they will pay.
That's bullshit.
this is a show we put together. Like,
Yeah.
if you're booing them, you're booing us.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
because
what people don't get.
some people, they put shows together where it's throw on some locals, and maybe they assume that, you know what I mean? Maybe these guys are just some shitty locals
Yeah.
that nobody wants to see.
Yeah.
They don't realize that it's a package deal.
Yeah.
You know?
I never do that. When we go on tour, I never have local bands because you just don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And not everybody's cool.
Nope. And they're breaking down the drums on stage when
Or
you're
who knows what.
supposed
Stealing
to be setting
shit from
up.
you, or drunk and all their friends, and I don't want to do, or they're just never any good.
Yeah, there's that.
That's
too.
the problem. I mean, good bands are hard to find.
Yeah.
And so I cherish it when I do find them, especially ones that want to play with us and come on tour, like Jeff Pincus.
Yeah.
Or Field. Field is the guy that loaned us the bass. I mean, it's like, sure, you can play. Absolutely. We think Troy is really cool. And he's going to be doing the first 5 shows with us, or 4 shows with us. And but Jeff Pincus has played in the Melvins. He's with Butthole Surfers, and all these things are like, this needs to come with us. This needs to go with us. And I really appreciate all that kind of stuff greatly. And so if the audience that paid tonight was fucking with him intensely, I don't know what I would do. Fortunately, we're a weird enough band that our audience is not as big as Mr. Bungle's. Therefore, I think that they understand to a certain degree more that we want these people here. But when you get a big crowd in the thousands, like let's say 3,000, the intelligence level of that goes way down.
Well,
as opposed to as does the alcohol. Alcohol level goes way up.
yeah. The other thing, that was our first tour, and a lot of people. This was in '92, I think, and a lot of people were expecting Faith No More. They were thinking, "Oh, this is Mike Patton's other band. It's going to be."
He's got a mask on the whole show.
Yeah, and
Which guy's him? I remember hearing people say, "Which guy's Mike?"
yeah. Which is the famous guy? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, but yeah, that's not what they were getting, obviously. So
That's not what they were getting.
Did you get a lot of shit during this last run with Mr. Bungle because people were expecting more of the California, the funky stuff,
No,
as opposed to the thrash stuff?
The crowd's been great for that. I mean,
knew.
and I mean, I've seen some comments online where people are like, "This isn't the real Bungle," which is BS.
Yeah, like it's actually more.
It's
so.
actually more. Yeah, it's the original music that we used to play. But I mean, I understand they want this other thing, but you can't please everyone,
Right,
you know.
right.
And it was our decision to do this. It's what we wanted to do, and we did it. And in general, the crowd's been great. A lot of sold out shows, and
Yeah.
they still get to see Patton jump around like an idiot, and so.
And if Bungle continues, it probably won't be this.
Right.
So the people that got to see this,
Yeah.
if Bungle has a future, you'll never see it again.
Yeah.
So it's like a little special time.
Exactly.
And if you blink, you're going to miss it. But,
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on too. I think there's a lot of bands that have gone away that are coming back and doing like a quick run. Like this shirt that I'm wearing right now, Botch. They're a hardcore band from Seattle. They were gone since 2002, and then they decided to do one last run to say goodbye to everyone. And if you don't catch it that tour, you're done. Same with that. Like if you don't catch the Thrash Bungle, you may never see it again. And there's people that never got to see it.
Yeah.
Like myself, when I saw it, like I was blown away because I had heard the CD forever, but I was too young to go to the shows back then, or wasn't really,
no access to a fake ID.
Right, exactly. So I couldn't even. So seeing it now as an adult, it's a completely different experience, but it makes you feel like, okay, this is a very special moment in time.
Certainly can be.
Yeah. Is there something that you would like to bring back, like something that's been retired, some project that you've... I mean, obviously what you're doing now has been 10 years since the last time you did it, but is there anything older of yours that you would bring back?
Well, we do a thing called Melvin's 1983, where we have the original drummer and Dale playing bass. And we've done 2 albums. I have a new album that we're going to record of that. So that's kind of cool. But I am not afraid of anything like that. I'm really not precious with any of that kind of stuff. It's like, well, we'd have to do this. No. We can do whatever we want. I'm not concerned. I mean, last year we did an entire album of Throbbing Gristle covers and just all kinds of things. So I'm not concerned with what would be perceived as, well, this is what they should be doing. It's like, well, even I don't know what we should be doing. So
I feel like you guys actually do a really good job of keeping things fresh and different. Like last time I saw the Melvins, there was 2 bass players. It was with Pincus as well.
Pincus, yeah.
And I feel like you every show is something that you should go see because you don't know what's going to happen. You might have 2 bass players, you might have 2 drummers. Who knows?
That's right.
And you keep it fresh, and that's a lot. I would ask a lot of bands that have been around as long as you, like, how do you keep it fresh for yourself after all these years? How are you not tired of the shit? But you do a really good job of keeping it fresh like that.
Yeah, I mean, next tour we do, we'll have back to 2 drummers.
Oh shit! All right.
We are. That will absolutely happen. So
nice.
And I'm not afraid of any of that. I mean, it's like we've had Trevor play with us. What I would really like to do in the future is upright bass with electric bass, both. Ooh. So him playing upright bass, Steven playing electric bass, and then we program the set with that in mind, and we have enough songs we could probably figure out a way to make that make sense. Not just him playing behind a bunch of loud music. We can figure out all kinds of things we can do with it. He can also, if that thing's cranked up, it's louder than shit. The low end on that is just mammoth. So I would love to do that.
Hell yeah.
It'd be really cool.
No,
would you do that?
What's it pay?
Yeah, how much you pay? Wait,
you mean how much you pay me?
I mean, if it's anything like this, forget it.
Oh man! Now I've had you guys both on the show before, and I wouldn't say that we know each other, but I feel like I know that you guys are good people and humble. You're not like thinking you're the shit. But are you aware of how influential both of you are and how big your presence has been in the scene for so many years? Are you do you think about that at all at home?
I try not to. People have told me that. I've seen people say things, and it's a little too much. It's not something I want to think about. I mean, I totally appreciate it. It's great. I've had kids tell me I started playing bass because of you. That's great. It makes me feel great because I was into rock bands or whatever. That's the whole reason I got into playing bass. It's basically because of Kiss, and but it's not something I dwell on. To me, I'm constantly trying to be a better musician, trying to come up with new ideas, trying to further myself, to be more inventive, be more creative, and I can't be sitting there thinking, well, I'm a legend,
Right.
That doesn't.
You obviously don't live in Hollywood.
That doesn't. That doesn't even really compute. I mean, if someone says it to me, I'm grateful. It's great to hear that. It's an ego boost for sure, but it's not. It doesn't direct my path at all.
How about you, Buzz? Do you think about that at all? Because I mean, I'm only asking because I feel like you don't think about it, and I want to know if you're still in that mentality of like, I'm just still trying to make music. I don't care what's going on in the fanfare background.
I'm very much aware that our influence bands like Nirvana and Soundgarden and a whole genre of music that changed music on a global level. Without us, none of that stuff happens. I understand that, but I also understand we're a much weirder band than either one of those bands. Those bands were popular because they were easier to listen to than we are. I get that, but their fans, the millions and millions of people that bought those records, have no idea how eclectic those people really are. They have no intimate understanding of what those people are thinking. Those bands, and like with Bungle, Mike Patton was in multi-platinum Faith No More. The people that made him, sell 1 million records have no concept of how fucked up and weird his musical sensibility really is.
Yeah.
They have no idea. Yeah. And millions of people did not buy Fantômas records.
That's true.
I mean, we get a taste of humble pie every day. I mean, I do all kinds of music where there's like, less than 10 people in the audience. I'm still going to do it because it's what I do.
Right.
And I understand that a lot of stuff I do is, it's instrumental. There's no front man. It's it's dissonant, whatever. And I play to mostly what I do is play to small audiences and don't sell millions of records. So, there's a reality check with that all the time. Doesn't matter how influential I am really to some kid. I mean, that's super important, obviously, but it does doesn't make me rich.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we're professional musicians is what we do, and because a lot of people will want to project onto me and maybe Trevor as well that the fact that didn't happen to us must mean that we're bitter and pissed off and jealous, and I'm none of those things. I'm bitter and pissed off, but it's not because someone's successful. Not at all. I mean, I never fault anyone for making money or their success. Fine with me. Good. Let's see what you can do with that. Doesn't bother me. I don't feel at all threatened by that sort of thing. Nor did I ever. I'm not beavering away trying to not sell millions of records. It's not a perverse thing. It just doesn't happen. It's not because You're not
intentionally making shit.
Not at all. Not in the least. I'm going to make sure that I don't sell a bunch of records. I'm going to perverse. People do that.
Yeah.
I'm worried about what these people. I have no idea what people will think. I have no idea. So, I make music that I like, figuring that I have good taste. Therefore, there will be other people in the world that like this, but it probably will not be millions.
Right.
There's rooms full of people, probably in Hollywood or wherever, that when a song breaks for some unknown reason, becomes super popular, they jump on that. Okay, what's the secret? Why is that song popular? We got to write a song that's like that. It's got a riff like that. It's the same form. It's the same tempo, same key. There must be some secret there. And there's people who do that. They try to write songs that have already been written, basically. I do the opposite. If I come up with something and I start messing around with it, I'm like, okay, this is kind of poppy, and then I'm like, wait, this sounds like, something I've heard before. I'm like, scrap it or change it so it doesn't sound like that. I'm not trying to be the next Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, that happens a lot with pop music or like Latin music too, like reggaeton. Like all those songs sound the same.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you made $1 million. If I do the same beat, I could make $1 million too, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost all pop music sounds the same to me. Once in a while, something will break through. I go, oh, that's interesting. Why did that sell? Who knows?
Give me one. Which one breaks through that you like?
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse? Okay. How about you?
That sold millions.
Yeah, I did.
It doesn't sound like normal pop music to me. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed, hearing that record, that would sell 30 million copies or whatever it sold, 16 million or whatever. I would not have guessed that.
Is there one that sounds poppy but resonated with you in any way? Is there anybody that's done that?
The Knack.
The Knack? Okay. How about you, Trevor?
Oh man, I mean, I probably listen to more pop music than Buzz does, I would think. Lately I've been really into Lana Del Rey, actually. I really like her last record. I don't know if you call that pop, but or Fiona. I love Fiona Apple. I really like female singers.
Fiona Apple's great.
I went through a big Britney phase, which was non-ironic actually.
I can tell them the Britney story if you want.
But
You
want to
hear that?
the Britney story.
The Britney story. Please tell me.
How many times have you seen Britney?
I've seen her live probably 5 times.
Really?
3 of those times he went by himself.
I don't mean to laugh at you.
Can you imagine how uncomfortable those parents were with some
who's this creepy
around
dude?
by himself?
I wore a trench coat too.
Oh my God, Toxic is a good song.
It's a great song. That's
song.
That's the song. I was kind of already into her conceptually, and then that song came out, and I was like, maybe I'll buy the record. So I bought In the Zone, and there's a lot of great songs on that record.
Yes.
Tricky wrote a song on that record,
Oh wow!
I mean, it's funny. People are like Britney, but then you tell them Tricky wrote a song, and I'm like, oh, I like Tricky, so You know,
That is
it's
interesting.
one of the best songs on the record.
I was in a band. One of my first bands was we weren't trying to sound like Bungle, but it ended up sounding that way because we all loved it, and we were just trying that. And the bass player was like playing with stick bass and all kinds of weird shit, and we ended up covering Toxic, which I think is funny considering that it all makes sense now in my brain years later.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you're not all right.
But I have to tell you though, that I made up the Britney part. He did not go to the concerts by himself.
Oh.
I'm surprised you actually. I'm surprised you actually
broke
confessing
kayfabe.
that.
You broke kayfabe.
You broke, yeah.
How dare you?
I hear stuff that's not there a lot of times.
What do you attribute that to? You're sober. You don't do drugs.
That's why.
There's no cure for mental illness.
Oh, right. I mean, you can pour alcohol on it, but it's not going to fix it, right? Have you ever drank, or you always been sober?
I've drank, but I haven't drank or done any kind of drugs for more than 30 years.
Wow.
Nothing. I've got a good caffeine story.
Okay.
So
is it real?
It's real. This is real. My wife, a few years ago, my wife was just like, you have to quit drinking coffee because you get all cranked up on caffeine and you start talking all this shit. I'm tired of it. Quit. So I haven't had any caffeine for 6 months. And 6 months after I quit, she's like, it wasn't the caffeine.
It was you.
I was like, I told you. It wasn't the caffeine. She goes, you're absolutely no different. Not one bit different.
I got to say, I mean, isn't Patton sober too? I mean, I don't know. He claims it. I've seen on interviews.
See him around a lot, so.
Yeah,
I was saying, like,
he claims a lot of things.
Most sober people that I know are some of the like wildest or more creative or like outside of the box. You know, I try to explain it to my wife would ask me like, oh, if he's sober, why is he so crazy? I'm like, because you're raw dogging life. You're just walking around with all this mental illness and all the chaos out there, and what are you gonna do? You know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've learned about sobriety that I'm not a sober person, but I'm not sober right now. No. But you know, from what I've heard talking to people, it's like the problems, the real issues start when you stop drinking, because that's, like you're saying, that's when you have to deal with life, and that's things that make a lot of. Sometimes the reason people become addicts is because they've got so much going on here that they're not dealing with. So they're burying it in, you know, they're escaping it. Yeah. And then it gets to a point where they're physically addicted to something, you know. Yeah. So, you know.
I've been very fortunate that I don't have that thing where you get physically addicted. Like I've tried them all. You know, my youth was very experimental with the drugs, but I never got like I stopped when I was doing cocaine and I decided to stop. I stopped. There was no relapse. There was no, I have to go get checked into rehab. Right. None of that.
You wanted to. I
wanted to stop. Yeah. Weed I still smoke, but you know I do it for bedtime now because I'm old. And I mean, you guys are older than me, but I'm getting there. I'm 43, and I feel like now the party days are starting to get behind me. Yeah. I don't go to the pit anymore. I don't mosh anymore. It's you know it's not
hurts.
That. It hurts, man. It hurts. How much time do you guys got? I mean,
I have some bass tech people meeting me.
Okay. We can wrap this up. So
Thank you.
You're doing a tour for 2 months?
3 months.
3 months.
We're going to Europe after the States.
Okay.
45 shows in the U.S., 25 in Europe.
Please go catch the show.
Yeah.
Go support. As you said, they're not doing this for the millions. They're doing it for the love of the game, I would say. Right?
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's so hard to put this together and coordinate the times that there's absolutely no way to know that we will ever do this again.
Right.
So
this is a unique experience, like most of your shows.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know what's going to happen.
So it's like, you know, we're going to do this. I'm going to make the most of it. That's why we're going to do 70, but this could very well be the farewell tour. We just don't know. Farewell tour that we didn't even know was a farewell tour.
And we've got a veritable gift shop of merch.
Really cool merch.
A lot of great shirts. A lot of really special handmade vinyl stuff that Buzz and his wife have, you know, hand packaged, you know, with their letterpress and silk screening. All this really cool. Totally unique.
Okay.
There's some cool Fantômas stuff too.
Ooh. Go out there and get some of that stuff. Oh, well, speaking of that, I know it's not your call, but you think that'll ever come back?
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
I would do it, but yeah, unlikely. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning it's not going to happen and 10 meaning it is, I'll give it a 1.
Cool. And then the last thing I need you to do for me is look into that camera and convince my wife that it's a good idea that I get one of those.
I have 2.
I've been trying to convince her. She's
I
like,
have one in the
wait.
back.
So you're going to look trashy. I'm like, I'm trashy. That's the part.
Do you work at a bank?
No, I don't.
What are you worried about?
Exactly.
You got tats.
I got tattoos.
So tat it up. You got
I got
earrings.
earplugs. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
anyway.
I always say that, and the thing is, it's the gold lasts longer than the porcelain.
Okay. Well, I need to get
It's
one.
cheaper
so
too.
It's cheaper. It looks cool.
And it's pirate-ish.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Buzz, Trevor. Please, like I said, go to the tour, buy the records, support legends. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.